This is bishop on c2. Okay, great. Okay, so there's a bishop on c2. Okay, so this is the position, and I guess we'll take. Oh, I see, I see. Right. So it was black to move, so he had to move out the way. Duh. Thank you. um. So, can you solve it, Fate? And I challenge anybody who's here to solve it. It is white to move. Let me just make sure. It is white to move. And let's see if you can try to trick them into winning. So let's see. Good luck. And I'm gonna put some music on for you guys. And let's do this. Let's do this guitar beat. I really like this one. And you guys have about 30. Let's give you 45 seconds. Alright, so welcome back. I hope you guys solved it. As Fate did mention that let me go back here, that actually, yeah, King D1, sorry, Bishop D1 check, King H4, right, setting up a little trap, because King H4 is not the best move. Bishop G4. So actually, this position here is drawn, but whatever. So check, and so what he needed to play was King G6, and then H5 and G4, and then it's completely drawn because the bishop is the opposite color of the corner that he's going to, right? So this corner is a dark corner. So for this pawn to promote, you want a dark square bishop. So he can effectively give up these two pawns. Hey, bro, take them. And he would draw this position no matter what. So, interesting point. But anyways, boom, bishop g4. And then after h5, so h5, king f5. This is kind of these are really strong players doing this too, so it's kind of funny. So King F5, HG, and Black resigned, and losing a drawn position. So I don't know what's worse, drawing a one position or losing a drawn position. If I had to think about that, if I were in a tournament situation, I don't know. I think losing a drawn position is probably the worst feeling for me, at least, because it was a draw. You just messed up on your technique, but both is messing up on the technique. But at least with winning and then a draw, you get points. But when you lose, you don't get any points. So yeah, I don't know. Depends on how you take it, I guess. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Fate. Um, I once lost a drawn position against a grandmaster, and I was like, oh, I was kicking myself in the butt. I was just like, oh no, this is horrible. Like I had a chance to draw this grandmaster, and this is like early on, like when I was like 1300. Yeah, yeah, Bishop D1 is definitely the best trick. All right, and so let's go on. All right, so these two final pairs of exercises in this this page, before we head on to the next topic, you have to judge whether black should go into an endgame or not. And I'm going to leave it up to you guys to try to decide whether it is or not. So I'll put up the first one on this. Okay. Alright, so just bear with me. So king here. You know what would be smart? If I opened up my phone and I don't have to switch screens. That's what I would do. And because I have the PDF on my phone, so that way I can just look at my phone instead of having to switch screens, and I'll make the thing much easier for you. Yeah, so that's what I'll do. And hopefully together, like we can just go, this is page 19. Hopefully together we'll get better together, and I'll create like a team of chess masters, and we'll just like dominate every tournament. Go against Magnus Carlsen and destroy him in the next World. Magnus Carlsen versus World. Alright, so I found him. Oops. Okay, there we go. Okay, bam. Great. Now I can see this is much better. Wow. And I bought this thing so I could do this, and I just blanked. There's two pawns here and here. Alright, so it is up to you guys to judge whether black should go into this endgame or not. Okay, so I'll give you about 2 minutes. I'll give you a minute and a half. Don't think about this too long. So I'll give you about a minute and a half, and I'll put some music on. And if you have any answers, put into the chat, and we'll go over it. Okay. My mic was muted.
Megacryptopolis.
All right, yeah, well, we're back. Okay, so Fade is a pretty strong player, and I think I agree with him as well. This just looks good to me, right? If takes F4, right? And we're just gonna play G4, and then we say, hey, thank you for that, and I'm just gonna play G3. But what if I take on H3, threatening this, right? G captures H4, King E6, King G3, right? King F7, takes, where should I put this? And I can't leave these two pawns alone, right? So is it a win or is it? For me, it's a draw, no? Right? Because he always has to come back to protect the pawn. He plays King G3, then I play King G6, and then he can't leave because I always have the threat of coming here, and then I can always come here. But is there a way that I can get to a mine square, like here, here, and here? These are the two mine squares, right? So let's. No, but you can't get to a mine square first, right? You can never get to a mine square first. Yeah, I think it's a draw. Yeah, I think it's a draw. I don't see how it wins. At first, it looks kind of dangerous, but then you have to like just go a little bit deeper, and then it's like, doesn't make sense, right? Yeah. So, yeah, just a draw. All right, great. Alright, so let's go into the next one. And so in this case, I guess, yeah. So the question was, you have to judge whether black ought to go into the pawn endgame or not. And in this case, if your opponent is a lower rated player, and I hate to say this, but if my opponent's like 1200, I don't know. I kind of just want to outplay him. Or let's say like your opponent's like 300 and you're like 1000. You know, I'd rather take my chances. I don't know. You always want to strive to do what's right because that's gonna better your chess game. But in a tournament situation, I guess those are pretty hard moves to find. Like if they were forced, then I would look for a different variation. But he has to find those like G3 pushes. You know what I mean? So that's pretty difficult to see, and that variation. So yeah, I'd probably go with it. even if he was a lower rated player. Like if he found it great, like you're playing an amazing game. Yeah, Fade is right. Yeah, there are a lot of times. I remember. So I used to be a tournament arbiter, and what happened was these two girls. They were like probably no older than 6. Kept putting their kings in check and check, and they kept going up the board and down the board. And then the girl says checkmate. And as a tournament arbiter, you're like, is this checkmate? Do you agree? Yes, I agree. It's checkmate. I can't do anything. And the cutest thing, we had to give her the win. So yeah, it happens at beginner tournaments. All right, so let's go into the next one. Okay, let's do analysis. Set up this position. Somehow I'll find a way to save these so I can link them so you can view them later. I think I have to create a study or something. So I will do that. I will find out how to do that before my next stream, and that way if you guys ever want to look at these positions, like let's say you don't have time to visit the stream or something, or you have to go, then you can do it at your leisure. Okay, and that's it. Alright, so it is let's see, it is black to move here again, and he wants to know if it's okay to get into the pawn endgame or not. Okay, fair question, fair enough. Alright, so you will have, I just want to play here. Oops. It's black to move, so. Alright, cool. It is black to move. Great. And start. You guys have 2 minutes. All right, so thank you guys. What do you think the answer to this is? Um, should you try to go into the pawn endgame, or should you try to do something else? Let me just pause that music. Okay. I couldn't decide. Um, so rook g4 is a really interesting idea because we're gonna have two, but he has an outside pass pawn, right? So I don't know, like here, like I think we retain our edge. Oh, so he can't. I don't think he can play rook a6. I think our pawns are just too close. Yeah. Maybe I don't know. Maybe here, king of 3, kings. Maybe just rook c4, and maybe check from the long side. And I also have these pawn pushes coming, right? So let's say a4. We'll start pushing on this side. a5, h4. So king h3, bam. Yeah, like I think we're totally winning this. What is he gonna play? Here? Let's see. I still want to protect that pawn, right? So a6. Oh. What if I play h3? We can try to trick him, right? Tricks are always good. He can't come here, right? So he has to go here. Can we force him to that side? I want to play h3. Okay, so let's force him to go here and then h3. Rook c7, play here, a7, and I'm just gonna play rook a2. And then I stop everything. And then I'm promoting in 2 moves. I have another pawn. Let's say I play king e4. I'm gonna play. We'll play g4. Can't come here. Yeah, and I think we're just winning. We're just totally winning. Yeah, we just push these pawns. He can't promote effectively. Yeah, we're winning. Okay, so that's one way. It's neat, feels drawish. I thought rook e4, rook e6, g5, rook against pawn. It's probably wins for black, but I feel white can improve. How about this? Let's just put it against the computer. I'm gonna turn on the evaluations. Let's see what. Okay, so hold on. I gotta turn on the evaluations. Okay, so it is. All right, so rook captures g4. It's giving a point minus 0.4 for black if you take. So still minus 0.4. And if king f2, king e6, so the valuation's kind of jumping, and it's at, well, it went down to minus 0.4 again, so e4, king e5, king g3, king captures, king e5, King G5. King here. Minus 0.2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then king and pawn. Oh, it looks, I guess, drawish. Is there a way we can improve? Okay, so it takes king f6. Aha! Playing g5 immediately? Oh my god, yeah. Remember this example? That if he plays here, then this is the mine square, right? So like, these were the mine squares before, but now this. Okay, cool. Anyways, that's so cool. So let's say they take king g6. I mean, we just basically have a pawn, right? So this is just winning. Yeah. I don't think we have to look at this any further. But that's pretty cool, right? So we've looked at if takes, and then g5, and if h5, then king g7 is supposed to win. That's what it says in the evaluation. Wait, so my evaluation just dropped. Why? Oh, it's at king h7. Yeah, king h7 is minus 11.5, minus 12. e4, a5. And let's say he plays a4, then e5, and king f5, takes, king captures, bam, and I am 2 moves ahead of you. Wow, that is so sick. So yeah. So yeah, if we ever get into this position, we should never lose this. Just the point is, we need to get into this position. Okay. So yes, in this case, he should. Right. So in this case, he should. He should go into the end game. All right, great. All right, so let's go into the next. And this is a tragic comedy. Oh no, this is a, sorry, triangulation. I don't know how I mix up those words. So we're gonna set this up. Oh, also guys, if you like what I'm doing here, please follow. I'm gonna try to stream. I'm gonna make a schedule, but I'm gonna try to stream consistently. Just come and be a chess master if you want to be a chess master. Okay, so let's go over some triangulation. Triangulation is really, really important. And I tell all my students, if they're not budging, at least try to triangulate, because they might make a mistake. Okay, so pawn here. And who is it to move? It's white to move. Okay, so I'm gonna just read what the text says. Triangulation refers to a king maneuver which aims to lose the tempo and leave the opponent with the move. So basically, like, let's say this is my king here. This is a really famous game by my coach, my old coach, Leonid Udawson. He's a really strong player here in New York. Well, I mean, he used to be one of the top, I think, 10 in the world. He used to be a world candidate used to be a world champion candidate. But enough of that. So triangulation is basically like I'm gonna go here, here, and here. I guess I can just show you, right? So king e5, right? And so if he comes here, let's say he plays king c6, king d5, let's say he goes back, and now king e5, basically saying, hey, now it's your move. So if you see what we did there, before it was our turn to move when we played king e5, but now it's their turn to move, and they're in a bad position. All right. Oh, Fate, take care. Hope to see you sometime soon. If you can, drop a follow. If not, see you next time. All right. So let's read what the text says. The text is saying, the d5 and the d7 squares are in correspondence. The mobility of the black king is restricted. He must watch for the c5, c6 break, so this break right here, and also avoid being pressed to the edge of the board. It's not surprising, therefore, that white can easily lose the tempo and place his opponent's king in zigzag. Right, so let's play king e5, and he has a lot of stuff. So he says c6 is actually a mistake here, and I will just make this position. c6 is actually a mistake here because he can just take, bam, here, and if you take, then wait, what am I doing? He can play here in view of king c8. Wait, c6. Sorry, he didn't say that. So c6, king c8. King d6, king d6, king b8, he can't play here because he's gonna get stalemated, right? And if he comes out, then this is just a draw. Cool. And if he plays king d7, then you take. And then after you take, you get opposition. And he can't draw. Okay. So actually, I have the engine on, and it's saying that it's a mate in 12 if you play c6. And these are one of the cases that sometimes computers have trouble understanding, like some of the small nuances. Actually, a lot of these endgame puzzles, the computer sometimes can't solve. Like there's a really famous puzzle, I'll show you guys later, that the computer just can't solve. So c6, and it's saying b captures c6, but he can just play king c8, and then he's saying that's mate in 10. It says mate in 11, and now it's dropping its evaluation to +3. Let's say the king goes d6, and then king b8, and let's say c7, king c8, king c5, king d7, king d5, yeah, I don't see how he comes through. It says he's +2, and now it's dropping his evaluation to +1.8. Yeah, so the computer can't find a way in. It's saying that white's better, but white's not. Alright, yeah, so be careful. Alright, so let's do this again. King e5, king c6, king d4, bam, king d7, and then king e5. So white has achieved his aim by describing a triangle with his king. The rest is simple. And I'm just reading that from the text. King c8, king e6. Important move. Diagonal opposition. King d8, king d6, vertical opposition. King c8, king e7, king b8, king d7, king a8, and now we play c6. Cool. Because if here, then we don't take the pawn, but we go here. And he has a legal move. Check. Make this a queen. And we're winning. Okay. Welcome, Land Fusion. Nice to see you here. And cute heel girl, welcome. Sorry if you were lurkers. Sorry for pointing you guys out. Okay, and so let's put the next one. Okay, so he leaves the king out of this. He leaves the kings off of the board for right now. And he says the following. The following position is very important both for itself and as an illustration of the characteristics, logic of analyzing corresponding squares. The kings were on d5 and c8, but we shall not place them on the board just yet. Let's deal with the squares of correspondence first. Alright, so let's go back to here. So two pairs of reciprocal zigzag are obvious right off. d6 and d8. Wait, is my example wrong? Oh yeah. So let's square over. Alright, so d6 and d8, right, are two squares that are in correspondence. c5 and c7, c5 and c7. And let's see. And for black, the correspondence d8 and c7. d8 and c7. The corresponding squares d8 and c7 on the board of c8. Thus, a standard means of identifying a new correspondence is the d5 and c8 squares. So these two are linked as well. It's not allowing me to draw. Alright. Okay, so these two squares, and I'll just draw the rest with just arrows. Okay, cool. So if I go here, okay, that makes sense. So along with d5 and c5, white has two equally important squares, c4 and d4, and black has adjoining the corresponding squares c7 and c8. Okay. And only one square d8 or b8. With black's king on d8, white makes a waiting move with his king from c4 to d4 or the reverse. Black's king will be forced onto c7 or c8 when white occupies the corresponding square and wins. So that's a lot of wording. So I'm just going to put the kings on now and see what he's talking about. So d5 and c8. Oops, two kings. Okay, bam. So in the position, so you can play either d4, c4, doesn't really matter. So let's go c4, king d8, king d4, king c8. Basically, whenever I want to go here, he wants to come here. Okay, so he's trying to prevent that. So, like if I went there now, then he would go here. So instead of doing that, I'm gonna go king d5, king d8, king d6, king c8, c7. Triangulating off of that. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. So let's do this again. So we were on d5, he was on c8. So bam, bam. So basically, he doesn't want to allow us to get in here, right? That's the point. So king c5, king c4, d8, king here, bam, and now he has to move. If he moves, boom, now, right? So we just triangulated and got opposition from that. That's so interesting. That's such a vital key. Sorry. And notice that he can't go here because we have this immediately. And he has to back off, and then we win a pawn. Okay. And I think this might be the last one that we do. Let's see. Okay, actually, we'll finish this triangulation piece. It's only another page, another like page and a half. So we'll finish off there. It's a lot of chess studying, and yeah. Alright, so he's gonna give us another position right now. So this is 1898, and he's telling us to find two winning plans. Alright, so let's just grind it out. I know that you guys have been with me for a while, so thank you. But let's just grind it out. I'll give you guys another 3 minutes. I'll give you like 2 minutes and a half, and then let's go right into it. Okay, so I'm gonna give you some music. It is white to move, and he wants you to find two winning plans, and I'm gonna do this along with you guys. And I'm not gonna read the text. I'm actually gonna zoom in so I can't see anything that he's saying, and I'll try to find two winning plans with you guys. Okay, and wait till I start the music. Go. Alright, welcome back, welcome back. So let's wind down and let's get right into this. Okay, so what I see here is that it is white 2, so let's just go done, and I'm gonna stop the analysis. I'm gonna play king d4. Right, so he can't move here, right? So actually, maybe I should try to finish this against the computer. So finish versus computer. Can I do that? Ooh, sorry guys, let me just take this real quick. I'm sorry about that. It was stupid people. Alright, so I guess I just have to move this over, right? I guess don't worry about it, right? Let's just not do this. So d4, let's say they play king c6, and then I'll play king c4, right? King d6, king d4, no. How can I get in? Bam, mine square. And then queen f1. Easy. That's one plan. Alright, let's go with another plan. Just king f3, and if he plays king e5, then king e3, and then try to get to this square, right, with his turn to move. I think that works. Alright, opposition doesn't matter because I'm gonna queen into moves, so he can't come off. Okay, cool. Alright, and now it's pretty easy. Yeah, that was pretty easy. Let's try the next one. Oh, so let me read what's in the text first before I move on. So let me go back to this, and I have to go back all the way. Okay, so the author's solution to this study involves the opposition, which white seizes by its very first move. So king d4, king c6, king c4, king d6, king b5. Okay, so we got to the same conclusion. The opposition can only win if it leads to outflanking and outflanking. Here the outflanking looks risky but turns out to be playable because of the line king e5, king c6, the one that I just went into, king d5, King b6. King d6. King b7. King d7. h5, taking away the opposition. King d6, outflanking c8. Wow. King e5. King d7, right? King f4. King e6, and we are winning. Amazing. Okay, so he says, in 1968, during a session of training in the calculations of variations, I find pawn endings quite useful for this. I discovered a second solution to the study based on a complete different logic. The d5 square is key here, with white's king at d5 and black's at d7. White wins by h4, h5. By the way, with the pawn already on h5, occupying the d5 square is no longer decisive. The key squares are now on the 6th rank c6, d6, e6, which leads to an important conclusion. When the pawn structure changes, the system of key squares associated with the position generally changes too, just as with a system of corresponding squares. Wow, that's deep. So the message is, when the pawn structure changes, the system of key squares associated with the position generally changes too, just as with the system of corresponding squares. That's really important, because a lot of the time, even in the opening, when you make a move that changes the pawn structure, your plans change completely. Like if you had a f5 break and you push that pawn already, you don't have that anymore, so you have to now look for a different plan. That is really key. That is gold right there. All right, so let's go back. All right, so with white's king at f4, black must deal with the threat of g4, g5, and it can be parried by putting a king on e7, but not f7, since white will occupy the key square d5, which immediately gives us two pairs of corresponding squares, f4 and e7. So the black king cannot go here when the king is here. Cool. d6 and e4 and d6. So e4 and d6 are corresponding squares, and this are corresponding squares. Next to these, white has two equivalent squares, f3 and e3. Black, meanwhile, only has one, d7. Thus, the winning mechanism becomes clear. Triangulation. Wow. Okay, so he can't go to d7 because he's too far away. But I can go to f3. Wow, that is tough. That is amazing. Okay, so king f4, and he also puts a sideline that you can actually play king f3 as well, because of e5. But you cannot play here because of here. And now king f3 doesn't make sense. And then you can just play h5. Is that what he says? h5, king g3. King e4. Wow, that sucks to be him. Okay. But you can, so what I said, you can play f3 because this is the key square right here. Bam, bam. And now this is the corresponding squares. Boom, but now it's his turn. Booyakasha. Can we play this? So we can't play this now. But if his king is here, we can play that, right? Okay, so it's his move. King e7. Okay. So let's do what the text tells us to do. So king f4. King e7. King f3. King d7. King e3. Because these squares are mined, right? Oh Jesus. Okay. This is technical now because we wanted to get here when he was here. King d6. King e4. And he cannot go back here because we're gonna invade. I'm sorry I'm getting kind of excited, but this is some stuff right here. This is some stuff. Alright. So King e4, right? That's where we're at. King c6. King f4, King d6, g5. Thank you for the biscuit. Winning. Wow. That is amazing. That solution is just so pretty. I didn't even calculate that far. Like I would have made a mistake of playing like the early g5. And that's what I did earlier. I just thought like, okay, g5 is just like flat out just like winning. But okay, let's try this again. Oops, okay. Okay, this is the position from before. So you can play f4 or f3 and he has to play d6, right? And let's go to f3 here, and then we go king e4, right? Because if king e4, he can't play here because we play here, and we play here now because now if right, and if he plays king here, then we can play king e4. No, that's wrong. Oh ho 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 ho! I found it. Found it, guys. We're moving on up. We always gotta look at the tempos. Get the opposition first. Bam, and then hit him with the tempo move. Okay, so let's look at this tragic comedy. So this is by you, Dawson and Osnos. Okay, so let's go to new analysis. Let's go into set up position. Bam. Okay, so with his last move, he went from king e2 to king f4. You Dawson offered a draw. So you Dawson is actually my chess coach, like still an active GM, amazing person, super strong. He's still super strong. He still sees a lot, even if he hasn't played like competitively, like super competitively, like world championship in a while. So. Okay, so he offered a draw, adding that this position was a well-known draw, which one might find in any book. His opponent, an international master and an experienced trainer, so that person trained Victor Korchnoi for many years and believed him and accepted his offer. After king e4, king e2, f4, king f2, f3, we reach a position which is indeed in all endgame books Funny Alapin, but it's a win. It is a win. Black wins by triangulation. So king f1. We did this already. Remember, black has these two squares and these two squares, right? So these two squares are mined. So whenever you step here, I step here, right? So you can't get there effectively. So we go back. They go here, right? What does it say? Well, I don't need to know what it says. Oh, oops. Let's go back. Okay, so bam, 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 and then if he goes out, then we come in. If we go here, then we come in, and if he goes here, then bam, and we win. Easy. Okay. And then there's 2 more exercises, and then we are done with the stream. So let's do that. Okay. And as always, it's your turn to try to solve these puzzles. So I will put on some music. You guys just do what you do. You guys have 2 minutes and try to solve this. Okay? And as soon as I get the music up, ready, wait for the music. 3, 2, 1, go.
Is the
Just a little short intermission. You still got about 30 seconds. About 30 seconds. Guys, and we are back. We are back. So we're trying to solve this puzzle, and if you guys got it, let me know in the chat. See if you were right or not. I'll give you about 10 seconds to see if who can reply. Hey, this is what we're all doing, King Dave. This is a learning stream, so I'm trying to create chess masters here, and we're starting from right in the beginning. We're going to go to Endgames, and we're going over the whole Endgame Manual by Dvoretsky. That is the chess Endgame Bible. And join us. You know, it seems simple at first, but it really isn't. Once you learn this, you can learn anything. So let's see. Alright, so at first I was looking at King C3, but then after King E3 I didn't really see much. So I'm gonna play King C2. Right? So what happens if he plays King here? Right? then we can just play, well, we can play d4, right? So that doesn't work. King f4, king b3, and if we play king e3, then we play here, and now we can come here, right? Oops, sorry, now we can come here. King Dave, thank you for the follow. Amazing, and please come learn with us. And we have now 2 chess masters in training. Really excited. So now we play here, and after king f4, and then of course we have king d4. Now we're gonna come and collect this pawn. If it's not glued down, then it is ours. So thank you. Again, thank you for the follow. It really shows me that you guys appreciate what I'm doing. Alright. So let's go over king c3 first. So if king c3, king here, and now you can't really go into your squares effectively. Oops. You can't do that. We already talked about why you can't do that. So king c2, and then he plays king f4. Oops, sorry. So king c3, king e3, king c2, and then he comes, I think he can come on top. King d4. And now he can just play like this. But it's still good for you. So But I think the best way to like avoid everything instead of him coming in on top of the pawn is that if you can get to c3 when he comes here, right? And if he plays f4, then what we want to do is we want to triangulate so that whenever he hits here, we hit there, right? So then if we play king b3, plays here, king b2, plays king f4, then we can play king c2 here, and now where does he go? King f3? No. Then we play king d2. Now it's his turn to move. Now he has to make the decisions, and if he plays here, then bam, and now we take the f file. I mean, we take the e file. So, you know, and he plays king e5, we get opposition, and we're kind of come for this pawn after. Right? Or even if he plays here, king e5. Can't quite reach it because we have this tactic at the end. Queen check comes here, right? So he's lined up here. So my king controls these 3 squares. The king has to move down, and then we win the queen from an X-ray tactic. Cool. All right. Oh, right. So the notation is on the side. So you always say the piece that you're gonna move and to what square. So like, let's say I wanted to move my queen to, let's say, king a4. Or if there were a pawn here, then you would say queen captures on d3. Okay. And I do suggest that you learn it. It's pretty simple. And it will help you, because if you're reading chess books, or if I'm saying let's say I'm trying to calculate different variations in my head, then sometimes I'll be like, okay, d4, d5, knight f3, knight c6, and I'm trying to calculate that position in my head. And it really helps for calculating. Sometimes when I'm at a tournament, I'll calculate just by myself. Oh, okay. Okay, let me get through this last example, and then I'll go to exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, guys, so this is the last example. So white king here. It is white to move. White to move. I will give you 3 minutes. We've had a long time today. I'll give you 3 minutes. All right, and wait till the music starts. Ready, set, go. Alright, you guys have 1 minute left, 1 minute remaining. So, sorry guys, my mic was muted. So notice that he only has this square, and this is a mine square here, right? Because if we have that, then we can push over here. Right? Oops, not right now, but we can push here. So let's say he plays like King G6, and we have two squares. We have these two squares that we can triangulate from. And since he only has these two squares, and notice that he would be in a bad position if we went here. So we want him to make the mistake and go to over there. Alright, so let's hope you guys solved it pretty easily. If you have anything to say, then say it now in the chat. I'll give you 10 seconds. If not, I'll just display the answer. Alright, so I'm gonna play King F4. Let's play King F4. If the king goes to H6, then I play King F5. Right, he has to go back. He could play f6 as well. But again, that's losing because king e6 and I'm going to take here, right? So king e6, king g5 takes. Boom. Oh, he takes. I can just come here. No, don't go there. King e6. What should I do? If king e6, maybe king f7, because this pawn's really close to promoting, right? And then if takes, my pawn's gonna promote faster. Right, f5, push, f4, push, bam, push, queen. If he pushes, then bam, queen prevents the promotion. Great, okay. Let's go back. So king f4, king h6, king here, and if king h7, then we can play king e5. And now he has to play king h7, and now we're just absolutely winning. If he plays, I don't know. Here, I can do whatever here. I can play g5. That's how much I'm winning. Because now the king doesn't have this square, so he has this square. So let's say he plays f6. Takes, bam, bam. Right, okay. And that is the power of triangulation, guys. Look at that. Boom. Let's say he goes here, right? Bam, I can play king e5 as well, because now he's not protecting that. So maybe that's not the best option. The best option is probably just to play king h6, right? And if king h6, I don't play king e5. King e5 will lead to a draw. Okay, f5, keep him out of that square. And if f6, then we know what to do. We come around and we collect these pawns, right? So that's it. That's basically it. And don't play g5, because g5 just leads to disaster. And yeah, and you lose. So I am gonna go over the coordinates today with my man King Dave. So let's go over it. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty simple. So we're gonna do this. Let's start a new analysis board. So if anybody wants to stay here for that, you guys are more than welcome to. So King Dave, this is just for you. All right. So you can see that it has the letters on the bottom. So if you can say your alphabet to H, then you're good. At least for the chess standards. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? So 8 letters, 8 numbers is a 64 square board. So 64 different coordinates. Right? Starting over here is A1. You always say the letter first. A1, B1. So anything on here. A1, B1, C1, D1, E1, F1, G1, H1. Same for this, A2, right? A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, A8, and these are called files, right? From here to here are called files. From here to here are called ranks. Okay? These are ranks. 7th rank, A file, B file, okay? C file, okay? And when you move a pawn, you don't have to call out a pawn's name. So you just put where the pawn lands. So D4, D5, okay? E4, C5, C4, E5, okay? And if, let's say, pawns can only take diagonally, let's say 2 pawns can take once, then you say C captures on D5, or E captures on C5, or d captures e5, right? Very simple. When a bishop moves, then bishop b5, you just put it on the square, bishop b5. If you capture something, bishop captures c6. Knight captures c6. The one thing you do have to worry about, not worry about, but is this is en passant. It's a special move that allows you to capture your opponent's pawn on the turn after it has made its jump. So if he captures it, if he skips your capture square, right, like before, if you just went here, he can capture you. But if you went c4, then he can't capture you. So there's a special move that allows you to capture only on the next turn. So on this turn right here, right after he does it, then you can capture him. That's called en passant. Okay. In this case, you can just write c captures d, d captures c3. Okay. And you're pretty much, that's it. I mean, just put wherever the piece lands. So if it's a pawn, you don't have to say pawn something. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. Nobody really says it. And then just put whatever piece. So if it's a queen, put a queen and wherever it lands. So like, let's say we want to put our queen to h4. So we say queen h4. So let's make